I actually have a theory about why stand-up comedy is never good in movies, which is that they, even in the good ones, like I think Hacks is pretty good for stand-up comedy, but the thing that they've never done is they've never actually done the set in front of real people and made sure that it gets laughs, because the bar for stand-up for getting a laugh every 30 seconds is so high that until you've actually done it with the material, you have no idea if it, like we as comics know 95% of everything you say gets thrown in the trash. And so Gene Smart never went on the road to do that material. And so it just doesn't quite have...
Why would she?
And they also couldn't do it because production-wise, it would take too long. It takes too long to build even a 5-minute set for production. They would just never be able to get it off the ground. That voice, that dulcet tone. Well, are we starting? I think we're starting. That's Adam Conover.
Hello.
This is the Endless Honeymoon Podcast. I'm Moshe.
I'm his wife.
That's my wife. And Adam, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Am I sitting too far away? Should I be
I think
getting
you're
closer?
good, right?
Okay.
He's good. You're perfect.
No, it's awkward.
Well, how intimate should this show be?
We used to make, well, because
We'd
we
love
have
you
different
closer.
cameras. Wait, should I sit closer to him?
Well, I always tell people to sit on the crack. So if you want
Oh, yeah. Sit on that crack,
There we
boy.
go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let the farts go right down into the couch.
Well, Adam's not only a very funny stand-up comedian and has a couple of wonderful television programs as well.
I was on his television program.
You were.
Right.
Yeah. Which episode were you on? Wait.
I was on the one about music.
That sounds right.
And
Oh,
like
were you an
naps,
executive?
Yes. And but I
Yes.
learned so much just from that day of work. I mean, you really do. And I was first turned on to you because I was pregnant, and people were like, his breastfeeding episode. Like, it's so amazing, like the range of topics you covered, and not just things that were like, important to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that breastfeeding
You care
is not
nothing at all
important
about
to you.
breastfeeding, right? You told me that privately before we started rolling.
I thought it was an academically interesting topic, but it turns out it meant a lot to women who saw this.
No, but it really did, because like it really
was
getting
a good clip
the,
because
the data.
it got sent to me, and it's good comedy when it makes you laugh and you are genuinely like desirous to share it because of the information in it. I feel like a lot of your stuff is like that. It's like this thing is unlocked that wasn't previously unlocked.
That was my trick. I was at the beginning. I was like, oh, you can make people laugh, but they need to get something else out of it that makes them want to show it to somebody else.
You know what KRS-One calls that?
What?
Edutainment.
KRS-One, the rapper, calls it that?
He's still
This was
coining
old.
phrases.
This was a long time ago. He had an album called Edutainment.
Oh, okay.
And I believe he coined the phrase edutainment. And we were wondering if you could edutain us tonight, because not only are you a great comic, not only do you have these great TV shows, but you're also on the WGA board.
About the board of the Writers Guild of America West. Yeah.
Yes, and we are currently on strike.
Yes.
The writers in Hollywood.
Natasha is
in New York, I suppose.
In New York and LA, we're all on strike. And I'm also on the negotiating committee, I should say, which means I've been in the room.
So you got like information that you literally couldn't share on this podcast.
No, actually, everything is very public. Like, there's a period when we're in the negotiations where we keep it quiet because, like, anything that's said might not hold up. You don't want to let people know. Like, the day-to-day, it gets a little bit too detailed. But after we leave, when we go to the members, we say, here's exactly what they proposed. And so I can talk about all, like, the press blackout is off right now.
Great.
I can do it.
Well,
I don't even know what the press blackout is.
Oh, that's just like while we're in the room, like I can't like do press. Like if you asked me like 3 days before the strike how are things going, I'd have to say I can't tell you right now.
I see.
But now it's fine. I can
tell you
anything.
it went horribly. We're on strike.
Okay, so what I heard is that the studios and networks will make this last at least 90 days so they can cancel all of the
the
deals
overalls
and the
stuff.
overalls that they don't want to pay anymore. And I know
worried
personally
about
friends
that.
who've already got them canceled, so it'll last at least 90 days so they can force majeure all of that. Is that true?
I'm worried about that because you know that I have an all over deal, right?
An all-over deal?
I have an overall.
You've got deals all over.
I have an overall deal at Oshkosh and B'gosh right now. So it took me a while. It was a
Good
hard
one, Moshe.
Well, it was a good one.
It actually got me quite well.
I mean, I struggled to get it out, but once I got it out, your reaction made it feel worth it, which was really good.
Well, I was fucking it up so much on the way with the all over thing. So look, the overall deal thing, that's a little bit of a canard that people say. Like it's a thing that people say that's sort of designed to undermine a strike a little bit. Like before the strike, people were saying, "Oh, they can't wait for us to go on strike because they're going to cancel. They're going to get to cancel all those overall deals."
But my friend got her deal canceled, and now
Yes.
she doesn't have money, and
Yes.
they are trying to not pay her for a show she did half of.
Yeah, because we're on strike. That's unfortunately no one's getting paid, and it's a bummer that like people who are on overall deals and are losing a lot of money, they have a lot of solidarity, and that's we thank them for that. Being willing to take that step. But look, the number of overall deals that these companies might have that they hate and they wish they could get out of, like, sure, maybe they gave somebody, $100 million. Like, I don't know, what's one of the really big people who they gave a lot of money? Maybe they're going, that person wasn't worth it. Sure, we'd like to save $10 million by cutting them loose early. That doesn't compare to the amount of money they're losing by not getting new shows, by having a shut down productions that are currently being made. Like, they are losing more money than writers are. So I think look, it's likely to last a couple months, but it's for other reasons. It's not for that. Overalls are like not the biggest piece of the picture.
Let me take it like a step back because I feel like our listeners, I don't know that we have a particular, not that we don't, but this is not like a comedy inside baseball podcast.
Yeah.
Mostly these are
20-year-olds looking for love.
Yeah, right. These are people looking for dick.
They didn't laugh at your Oshkosh Bagosh joke because they've literally been thinking we're talking about overalls the whole time.
So, Natasha, we were talking tonight about this conversation. Natasha was like, I don't feel like I even understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And she's a WGA member. So,
yes.
So for just for the listeners, the Writers Guild of America is on strike because our contract came up. How did we get here? Can we just start at like sort of baby steps? What happened?
The Writers Guild of America, we are a union. We represent about 12,000 writers for film and television. We have a contract called the MBA, or Minimum Basic Agreement. We renegotiate it every 3 years. We have a democratic process. I'm a member of our democratically elected leadership. People voted for me. I'm not paid. I'm a volunteer. We spend all 3 years figuring out what the membership needs and what their issues are. We survey people. We have meetings.
You do this for free.
We do this for free. Yeah. Well, we have.
Are you bummed you got put in this job?
I mean, I just like doing it. Like, it is weirdly rewarding.
Let me say
and plus
before
I get
you
to go on this podcast.
That is a huge boon. But I will say,
we would have had
Adam,
you anyway without all that free labor.
I will say, Adam, as we are giving you accolades and love, you have been a remarkably erudite, eloquent, and like sort of effective spokesperson for this particular strike. Just in the stuff that I've been seeing, it's like it's nice to see a comic doing that, and you're really well poised to speak to this stuff, not just because of your position, but also you're doing really well for us, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate it too. I was just kidding. Like, the idea of doing all of that though sounds incredibly taxing.
I mean, it's time consuming. In the low periods, it's a meeting or two a month to be on the board. It's not that big a deal, and you get sucked into it because I got very involved in the action we did a couple years ago where we fired all of our agents to get rid of their conflicts of interest. We don't need to get into that, but I got involved in that, and then I just enjoyed being a part of it. And then
you enjoyed firing your agent, huh?
I mean, it was really fun. I was like, hey, fuck you, get out of here. And now I've got all new agents that are better, frankly. But after a while, people were like, oh, you should run for board. And I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And it happened to be when, lined up with our contract expiration. And so now I'm in the middle of this crazy strike while being in leadership. But like, okay, so we find out what people's needs are. And it turns out that what writers' needs are like really desperate right now, because the companies, meaning the streamers and the studios and the networks, have spent the last like 5 to 10 years taking money away from writers using all these contractual tricks. And it's different depending on whether you're talking about episodic, like narrative TV, like, Yellowstone or shows like that, or Wednesday or whatever, or film screenwriting has different issues. And then comedy variety, which is what I do. And most stand-up comics do. That's late night stuff like that. It also covers, daytime. That has its own issues. And one of the reasons I got involved in the board, by the way, is because another member told me, this guy, Matt Gunn, who writes for Bill Maher, was like, we've never had, on the Writers Guild America West, we've never had like a comedy variety, late night stand-up type person on the board ever. All those people are normally on the East, which is a separate union. It's a little bit complicated. We need to get into that part. So we have been hearing from members that like they can't make a living in Los Angeles or New York anymore. The companies have created these things called mini rooms where they shove people into a small room and make them write a large number of episodes in a very short period of time.
It's a regular size room. I've been in some mini rooms. The size of the room Listen, I'm a union man, but I feel
Is it called a mini room because of the amount of people? Like they have fewer people
and littler time, right?
Well, they also call it mini as an excuse for paying you less.
Right, mini checks.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did a mini room and I don't think I ever got paid.
You know the Publishers Clearinghouse checks? They give you the opposite of those. They're very, very tiny, and they hand them over. It's basically a trick to just get the same amount of labor extracted for a smaller pay, a smaller amount of time.
Correct. For like about a third of the pay.
Right.
And so you have people who, we could get into exactly what the loophole is. It might be a little bit inside baseball, but they did it by separating writing from production. They have you write the whole show before they've picked it up to production.
Right.
And then they say, well, since it's not in production, you're never going to go to set, so we don't need to pay you your producer fee, which for writers,
it's kind of everything.
That's like about half to 2/3 of your pay is normally your producer fee.
And so I think that people don't.
That's
This is why I wanted to have you on. It's not just it's because I feel like there's something for the public. It can be difficult to find sympathy with a bunch of Hollywood writers saying we're not being paid fairly. It sounds false to the working man ear. But I think that's because of a lack of information of the way that writers historically and contemporarily string together our living, which is, like you're saying, it's a little bit from column A, it's a little bit from column B, and then you have a living. And what the studios have done over the years is very slowly make the columns smaller and less existent.
Correct.
And streaming used to be a smaller part 5 years ago, and now it's just growing and growing and growing and growing, and people aren't getting any residuals for streaming. It isn't streaming the whole pie now?
Streaming is so much more of the business, and our contractual terms are much worse in streaming. So actually, if you write a narrative TV, if you're writing like for Wednesday, actually your pay is pretty good. Your residuals should be better in some areas, but they're like okay.
And that's the number one
getting
show.
Better. That's the number one show. Yeah, but if you write, for example, let me just give you an example here. Again, comedy variety, what I do, late night, is in streaming, we have no minimum pay at all. We have no guaranteed length of employment. So look, when I wrote Adam Ruins Everything, which you were very nice to say nice things about, on True TV, it was the smallest channel on basic cable. All my writers had a minimum amount that they were paid, a couple $1,000 a week. They had a guaranteed term. We could employ them for no less than 13 weeks, which is like 3 months is like not that long to know you have a job, but at least it's something, right? And the residuals were like good, like my first year, my first residuals check was like low 5 figures, and so it was for all of our writers, and writers like, I got to pay my rent with the residuals. And that, as a writer, is what tides you over, because it can be years between your jobs, right? That's one of the reasons people go, oh, wow, like $4,000 a week sounds good to me. Well, except that as a writer, you only usually work about 6 months a year, 9 months a year, and it might be a year before your next job. So, but that was on basic cable. I made basically the same show for Netflix. It was called The G Word. It was less episodes, basically the same format. They wanted me to do what I do on Netflix. When I was in our first meeting with the line producer and we were talking about writers, he said, hey, good news. We can do whatever we want with writers. There's no restrictions. We could pay them $1. We could pay them $1 a day. Hire them one day, fire them the next day.
He never researched you at all. You're like, wrong guy, dude.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to do a special about this.
Yeah. I was like, well, I'm an EP, right? So as an EP, I'm like, I see all the other EPs going like ding, 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 ding. Great, that's going to save a lot of money. But as a writer, I'm like, my blood runs cold.
It's like, good news, Che Guevara. We can completely colonize Cuba in less than a month. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. And then I actually literally just a week ago got my residuals for the first year of the G Word being on Netflix. And it was a total for all 6 episodes for a full year. It was $500.
Wow.
Which is like basically zero compared to, again, if it was on basic cable, it would have been, it could have been 20,000. And again, I have had writers say, this is what allows me to pay my rent. I'm not saying like I got to have $20,000 right now. I'm saying the drop off, especially in comedy variety, what we do from cable to streaming is like obscene. And that's one of the things that we're fighting for. And so how do we get here, right? In the negotiating room, we said, okay, one of the things we need this year is, streaming's been around for 15 years. We need the same terms for comedy variety on streaming that we have on television. If you write for Amber Ruffin's show, right, on Peacock, shoots in the same studio as Seth Meyers' show, you should be getting the same pay and residuals as Seth Meyers. Just because one's on NBC, one's on Peacock shouldn't make a difference. The company's totally stonewalled on that. They said, we're not doing that. We want to be able to hire people on a day rate. We want to be able to hire you one day and fire you the next day. And the reason we're on strike is that's like existential, to the Writers Guild. So, you guys know late night as a stand-up comic, that's like the one good job in stand-up comedy, right? Is you could go write for a late night show. Like stand-up comedy itself is like an okay gig. A lot of people can't make a living at it. It's like, oh man, I'm lucky I got booked once this month. But, oh man, if you can work for a late night show, that's a way to write our kind of comedy and buy a house, have kids, all those sorts of things, right? If they were to, 5 years from now, everything's on streaming, but there's no 13-week guarantee, there's no minimum. It's just like, hey, come in on Friday, write a couple jokes, That's not a career anymore. Suddenly that's a gig. Suddenly that's something where you feel lucky if the Tonight Show brings you in for one day a month, in between stand-up comedy gigs.
Yeah, they're trying to do basically a magic trick, which is they're trying to say, no, that's different. TV, that's the gold standard. As if everyone isn't aware of the fact that no one watches TV anymore. It's like we all know that everything is ported over to streaming, and they're trying to pretend that it's somehow a lesser rung of the food chain when everybody kind of already knows that it isn't. And you were, I think it was, I don't remember what show you were on talking about the pay of the CEO of I think CNN.
I was on CNN, yeah.
You were on CNN talking shit. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I was.
No, I like that. Bringing it right to their door. But that is the way that I think this becomes.
So they're trying to grab more money from the top to... I mean, I'm sure I've said this before because it's like one of the things that I really remember from life, but I dated this billionaire and his dad was rich, but he was obsessed with his dad's number in the Fortune 500, and he would be up late at night making sure that his dad was like number 7 and not number 8. And I think that's kind of what happens that's like an extreme case, but like that is the late stage capitalism. It's like, I want to be it's not enough for me to be the billionaire. I want to be the person who's like above that guy. And so the only way to be above that guy is to rip off everybody else. And they know how to do it.
And something else happened too, which is that, correct me if I'm wrong because you're the expert here, but that we used to be in entertainment, though it was definitely a greed-based capitalistic system forever, it still had this like folksy, it's our little world, we're Paramount, I'm gonna cut a head off of this horse and put it in your bed.
Oh, let's go to Dan Tana's and hang out. Yeah,
exactly. And then it became Apple and Amazon. And it became basically what's happening with tech and with every other big corporation in the world, which is that it was all about shareholders and it was all about increasing tiny little profit margins in order to make shareholders happy.
And that starts with Netflix. Netflix is the one that brought that into the industry because Netflix, their basic strategy was to Uberize content, or television.
After swallowing Comedy Central whole.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Comedy Central is a great example. What a wonderful brand that supported so much of comedy now no longer exists, right?
Well, they actually do exist. I have a show with them, but it's like they're
okay.
They're coming back.
They're
but
basically
I'm just
the true TV of the next generation. If that makes sense.
But when I say swallowed it whole, I mean they took away. No one has special. Netflix just had the new game for everyone wanted a Netflix special. Then they didn't care about a Comedy Central special because Comedy Central specials weren't streaming.
Comedy Central is basically Yellow Cab. And Netflix is Uber.
Exactly. But you know what we're missing from Comedy Central? When I got started in comedy, Comedy Central would produce people's albums, then put them on, the premium blend show, then give them the half hour, then do the hour, then do the TV show, or they'd put them on the Daily Show. They had a whole pipeline, right? And that's what's gone. That doesn't exist anymore. It's Viacom's fault. They while Sumner Redstone was just like getting his dick sucked by ladies while he was in a coma, the CEOs of the people who are running Viacom. That's what was happening. I just read a book about it.
That wasn't a comedic riff. That was a historical fact.
It was slightly elevated, but just very slightly. But I mean, for real, it's bizarre what happened. The people running Viacom, which ran Comedy Central, just ran it into the ground and completely missed the chance to compete with Netflix. But so Netflix comes in and says, we're going to use this pile of investor money to pay everybody a whole bunch of money at first, right? But then also break the way that television had been made for decades. We'll just throw money around, we'll disrupt the system, and we'll build a monopoly. And they attempted to do the same thing that Uber did to cabs, is put those out of business. But now that those old places are out of business, or at least Netflix has swallowed much of the industry, people look around and go, hold on a second. No, now we're not making any money. Now we cannot get paid. And so Netflix has been the vanguard of these companies that they look for new contractual innovations, new ways to structure our payment with the only goal of being to pay us less. And the reason they're doing that is they have the same strategy as Uber. They claim to be a tech company, but their actual purpose is to pay people less. That is how they save money and return money to the shareholders.
So this is what I was going to say.
Wait, hold on. They pay people less, and that's how they give money
to the shareholders.
They cut their labor costs. Okay. Their goal is to cut their labor costs as low as possible. And they're doing it to writers, but they're also doing it to actors, crew members, everybody else. The writers, we just happen to have historically the strongest, most militant union that actually has the able to go on strike. And
the smartest people, probably, if you had to say.
If you read the signs
in Hollywood,
on the
what's the
line,
smartest union? It's not the actors. Sorry.
Well, this is what I was going to say in terms of relatability. Is I do think it is hard to be sitting in, working at a fucking, I don't know what, at an arena in Ohio and looking at writers and going, that's the same struggle that I deal with. But it actually is. Yeah. Because even if you don't feel you can relate to the work or the lifestyle of the people that are striking, the scenario of corporate boss is trying to squeeze profit from every possible area, and it's affecting your ability to make a living, pay your bills, live your life. That is something that almost everybody in America is dealing with. And that is it's the same scenario. It's what you were saying. The CEO of CNN is made $250 million last year. That money doesn't come from anywhere but from the paycheck of the worker.
And the only reason anyone thinks of Hollywood writer as being an affluent job, as like a middle class or upper middle class job, is because we've had strong unions protecting us the entire time and fighting for that piece of the pie. And now the companies, the streamers, are trying to take it away from us, just like they're trying to take it away from everybody else. Other people and other jobs have had, look at auto workers, right? We have this idea of like, oh yeah, in the old days, like, oh, an auto, that was a good job you could have. And now we know that what the companies have done to erode that profession. Or look at journalism as a perfect example where, it used to be, hey, a journalist is a great middle class career. Now everyone I know working in that field is like, I'm lucky if I sell one blog post for $500 this month.
And isn't AI already taking the jobs from journalists? Because
it looks like it could go in that direction.
I mean, people have already done it, I think.
Yeah. Well, websites have already started throwing up AI articles. To me, that is like spam content. So I'm not sure it's yet taking jobs away from journalists, but people are worried that it's going to further make that entire industry like race down the shit pile all the way to the bottom.
Well, so that brings us, I think, to, you said the word existential earlier in terms of day rate with comedy and variety, and in terms of finding actual equitable versions of residuals for streaming. And existentially, our existential existence is, I think, the theme of this strike, because it's that, and it's this fight against allowing studios to use AI, which that to me feels like that's the true existential threat, obviously to humanity, blah, 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 but that won't be a very big deal if we all die. What's a big deal is whether or not I can still pay my mortgage writing TV. AI that's the scary thing. And I feel like we're canaries in the coal mine. I feel like that this is the last moment in human history for us to fight against AI taking over that industry. Is that scary to you?
I mean, I'm scared because of how the companies reacted to our proposal. Because our proposal, look, when we started putting the proposals together, it was like 6 months ago. And we said, hey, this AI thing, people are a little worried about it. We're not sure what a big deal it's going to be. Let's put some proposals in to cover our bases. And the proposals were basically that they can't use AI to undermine us. They can't force us to adapt the work of an AI, and they can't pass off the work of AI as the work of a writer. As
they're like,
Yeah, and we thought this would be easy for them. Cost them nothing to agree to it. The technology currently cannot be used to write scripts. It's not even clear that you can copyright it. And they're not going to pay $50 million to copyright a movie, to film a movie they don't own the copyright to. So we thought this would be an easy yes for them. And they totally stonewalled. They said, they wouldn't even discuss it with us. We'd be in the room with them and be like, you guys need to respond to the AI proposal. And they were just like, no, we rejected it. And
maybe that
made us think,
Oh, that made you think that they know that there's something in their back pocket.
Correct.
How far into AI are we? A month and a half? And we're already thinking, wait, what if this takes over our entire industry?
Yeah.
Like, imagine what AI is going to look like in 5 years. That's why, I mean, this contract to me is like, this is the last hope. Like if you'd asked a year ago, hey, will you not do AI for like 10 years? They'd be like, what's AI? Yeah, we'll agree to that.
Yeah, but like people already like crap, so AI can probably produce crap.
I mean, AI, look, what I want to put a fine point on what my concern is here, because I'm not worried about it taking over in the science fiction way that Elon Musk tells you about, right? What they have invented is, the best way to describe it is a word calculator. You put words in one end, you put in every script ever written, it can output scripts that look like scripts that are already written. Now
that's what hacks do, right?
Well,
I mean, that's like
I actually don't
not
think
the TV show, but an actual writing hack.
Hey, those are friends of mine. Okay?
No, I mean,
wait, hacks or hacks?
Both. All of them.
You got.
No, I'm saying if you're a hack, you don't have talent.
Yeah.
That is what you're already doing.
But
you're just regurgitating words.
Well, okay, we could maybe say that that's an extremely poor writer would do that. Except that outputting text is not what a writer does, because being a writer also means talking to the studio, taking their shitty notes, taking them into account, just literally talking to them on the phone. They need someone to talk to. You talk to the actors, you talk to the director to change the lines. You know what costs more than a different scene. You say, oh, that's too, you've written, we have too many locations. It's going to cost too much. We have to reset that scene in the same location. One of the first things I ever learned when I was showrunning my own show was I can't write a scene where someone jumps into a pool. And the line producer was like, well, you can't do that scene. I was like, why not? He's like, because we'd have to reset the wardrobe every time. We'd need 5 sets of wardrobe. So you can't, just like basic shit like that.
See, right? I would always write, on another period, I would write scenes at candlelight because I looked really good during it.
This is a great example because you've been on a set. This is a perfect example, Natasha.
I was like, more candlelight scenes, please.
You've been on a set. You saw how it looked, right? You had that experience. So writing is a person-to-person activity, right? It always will be. And until they invent literally like the little talking AI boy from the movie AI, which is not close to us, what we have now are just these word output machines. It's not going to be able to replace us. The concern is that they will still use the technology as an excuse to undermine writers, that they'll do something like, hey, the AI wrote a great script. Now we just need you, Natasha.
To punch it up.
Exactly right.
Oh my
To
God.
punch it up and also take our other notes and also talk to the director and also talk to the actor and also go to set and also do this. Oh, but guess what? You're not the writer.
Right.
So we're paying you
Adam,
less.
I have some really bad news. They're going to do this.
Right. Unless we get our proposal in place. That's why we're fighting. That's why.
So what do you do if they keep saying no? Let's say it's July.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to succumb to your deal points. We're not going to do it. Nope. Sorry. What do you do?
Well, now you're getting into the question of how you wield power in a negotiation and what the Writers Guild does. Because part of why I think the Writers Guild's fight is relatable to workers across America is we are an old-fashioned union that uses straight-up labor power. We are depriving them of their product. They don't get any new shows until we go back to work. The Duffer Brothers, who make Stranger Things, right? They said they're stopping work on Stranger Things. Ted doesn't get any more episodes, right? That's Netflix's Super Bowl, right? When Stranger Things comes out, that's when they get most of their subscribers, like for the year. So if Ted knows there's no Stranger Things, he can't tell the stockholders on the earnings call, he can't say there's more Stranger Things, like that hurts him. So he's going to need to come to the table eventually. And we are also, as writers, hey, we need to work. We have mortgages to pay. We have a strike fund that we can use to, support members who are in need. We also have a fund for other crew members and folks like that who are in need as well. But eventually we might reach a point where our own membership says, oh God, we really got to get back to it. Like we can't, please just wrap it up. And the question is, who gets desperate first? I really strongly believe it's them, because the fact is they need us more than we need them. They absolutely need us because we make the fucking product that they sell. Netflix does nothing but take our work and sell it to people for $15 a month. So if they don't get our work, they have nothing to sell people. And people are so ready to unsubscribe from Netflix. They subscribe to that service for a month at a time. A new Stranger Things comes out, people subscribe for 1 month and they immediately cancel, right? They're fighting churn, so they need us.
Their Super Bowl before, just so you know, I mean, I'm not taking umbrage to what you said, but the Stranger Things is their Super Bowl now. The Endless Honeymoon, the honeymoon stand-up special with me and Natasha a few years ago, that used to be their Super Bowl.
Okay, I have another.
They got at least 12 subscribers from this podcast that month.
I have another depressing question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
how many years are we away from AI being able to create a script that emulates Stranger Things and is the next thing? Or can do the job better? Like, like Moshe said, it's been out a month.
Well, my agent, I was talking to my agent when the strike first started happening. He goes, AI doesn't have to get good. He doesn't have to be as good as you. He has to be as good as the worst writer that's working. Like, because the taste of America is plummeting so slowly and like so quickly that eventually, like, is the minute AI can do the work of a mediocre show, they'll be like, well, that'll be good enough.
I mean, look, there's been algorithmic content, like slop content on the internet for years. Like there's been, look at music. People are worried about AI music. Music has existed for 50 years, right? People still need pop music. People still need the artist. And I'm really not trying to make some highfalutin claim about the role of an artist, right? But people need like those people who look at society and say, here's what people are interested in next. Here's the next thing, so people need to go, man, people feel like this about their jobs this year. I'm going to create Office Space, right? And then 20 years later, someone says, actually, this is how they feel about their job. I'm going to create The Office. And then 20 years later, it's actually 10 years later, but 10 years later, someone says, I know how people feel about their jobs. I'm going to create Severance. 3 different shows and movies about offices that are totally different in the way they portray. Based on the fucking zeitgeist.
Yeah.
When you write a joke, if you write a late night joke, right? You're a late night writer and you're trying, Ted Cruz did something that day, and you need to write a joke about it. You're thinking, okay, who watches the show? What do they think about Ted Cruz? How old are they? They hate Ted Cruz. Okay, what did he do? What was funny about what he did? What have
I experienced in my life? And
exactly.
I was listening to my friend Duncan Trussell's podcast, and he was saying that AI art is like fucking a fleshlight because it's like you're not getting whatever the person's. It's just fake. It's like you're not getting their 20 years of struggle and all of your education and all of your struggle and all of your art and everything you've done is all put into that joke or that song or that movie or whatever it is. And so it does become empty. We all get it, but they don't care.
I know they don't.
That's the problem.
And that's the problem is that so the real risk is that they don't realize that. Like we know that every joke you hear that makes you laugh, it has to be a new joke. You've never laughed at the same joke twice unless it's one of your favorites that you're replaying. But every time I write a joke, it has to be a joke no one's heard before, right? And the same for you guys. We know that. The executives don't. And so the worry is that they're going to try, that some tech idiot is going to rainmake them with some dumbass thing. You feed all your scripts in and it'll make new shows for you. And they'll spend 5 years trying to make that work. And the audience will hate it because people already fucking hate AI art and people are going to be so sick of it a year from now.
But will they be able to tell that it's empty and vapid and doesn't really come from a real place?
Yeah, because the problem is there's a lot of human created art that already feels like AI, that already feels empty and vapid and people are fucking sucking
watch
it
network
up.
television.
But I love that you're not feeling an existential threat as an artist and as a writer from AI.
Not from the technology, from the people.
Exactly. Which the existential threat exists from those same people always because it's all about how can we strip away your value and get your product out of your head. So that actually makes me feel good. Another thing that made me feel good, and we should pivot into calls, great, is I was talking about what a great advocate you've been for this strike, and I walked the line today. It was my first day out there.
I saw you there,
and you did not say hi, and that really hurt me when I realized.
You snubbed him at that strike.
I said to my girlfriend, "Oh, I'm going on his podcast later." I won't say hi.
It felt really good, and it felt like I felt really proud, and because the writing for TV, that was my dream. More than even making it as a stand-up, I was like, I want to write for TV someday, and then having it become my job, and then feeling like. That there are people advocating for that job to be able to continue to sustain me and to be able to advocate for myself. It was just a nice experience. I've never been on a picket line before, and it just felt good. And what also made me feel good was my day is I get up, I open my computer, I download Toxicity into my brain, I read the news, then I go to worldstarhiphop.com, then I go to Reddit/public freakout. This is my day every single day.
You go to World Star Hip Hop still.
This is what you're doing when I'm like, can you help me get the kid ready for school?
Yeah. I'm like, honey, I'll be there in 1 second. I just have some important
I
information.
thought you were reading the news or
Anyway,
something.
I was on r/public freakout, which is my favorite subreddit.
I can't believe this is what you're doing in the morning.
And there you were. And I was like, oh no.
I was on r/public freakout.
I go, oh no. I'm like, oh no.
I didn't even know this Reddit existed, and now I'm on it.
And I knew what I was going to see in the comments was like, this fucking cuck, he's talking about, writers' rights and labor for writers, these fucking elite Hollywood fucking idiots, get a real problem, bitch. And I click it. I go, oh no. And I click it. And the comments, I'm sure it's changed since then because it's been a week, but it was all, hey, look, a positive public freakout. That's like an in lingo in the r/public freakout. Oh, this is a wholesome public freakout.
Wait, you're into the public freakout?
Well, it includes fights. I love a street fight, honey. That's sort of my bread and butter. It includes Karen videos. There's a lot of great stuff on there. The point is, there you were defending writers' rights, defending Hollywood writers' rights, and everybody in the comments that I read was like, this is awesome. I've never heard it articulated in that particular way. These are not Hollywood writers. These are just like fucking Reddit users who were all basically going like, right on, this guy summed it up. This makes sense. Yes, I love that he's fighting for labor rights, blah, blah, blah. And that a little bit gave me hope that this struggle, which is really a workers' rights struggle, it's not really a Hollywood struggle, is relatable and
I gotta go read this thread. It'll make me feel nice.
What if they give you everything except AI?
You can't answer that.
I actually, yeah. No, I can't answer that because I cannot, because we have a bunch. Look, we have a lot of issues on the table. They're all really important to us. And you're not going to win everything, and I can't say which is more important than what, because then the fucking AMPTP, which is the organization we negotiate against, will listen to the podcast and go, oh well, Adam said they don't care about that.
Okay, well, I'll give you a hot tip.
But AI,
don't let him slip on the AI.
Oh, AMTPT or whatever you are, you listening, motherfuckers? He ain't gonna let you slip on the AI.
We are not going to, because the fact that they stonewalled on that issue, it was like a red alert. From
scary.
People were like, literally, there was debate about, is this a big deal issue or not? And when they said that, and literally, so the only thing they said when we were like, why won't you respond to this? They were like, well, we don't want to put any restrictions on technology we might want to use.
And they're clicking their like long fingernails together.
That's what they say.
You say, Nosferatu? Are you on this? Are you negotiating right now? That's so scary. That is so scary. I hate it.
It's terrifying. And we need to put those things in place. And by the way, AI is... and we should really call this like imitation technology, because that's the main thing it does. It imitates stuff that's been input. It is hurting actors right now. There's a case where Apple made AI narrators for audiobooks. Actually, a pretty good use case for that kind of technology, because someone might want to listen to an audiobook where not enough people want to listen to the audiobook where it's worthwhile to record, right? However, what they were doing was they were taking the AI voice prints of real actors, real voice actors, and making it without telling them, because there was a clause in their contracts that allowed their voices to be used that way. And these were SAG-AFTRA actors.
Crazy.
And they had to go I think they might be litigating about it now, but that is literally stealing work from them.
And all things lead back to r/public freakout, because there's been a number of fight compilations that are narrated by, I'm not joking, President Barack Obama. I'm not even kidding. It's like it's Barack Obama's voice, and he's just like, he fucked up when he walked into this dark alley, and I swear to God, that's real.
Okay, but here is the ultimate question: what do they want us to do? They just want everyone. I mean, what's the idea that there's like 9 billionaires and that no one has any money and no jobs to buy any of their fucking crap? It doesn't make any sense.
This is exactly it, and that is what they're trying to do. So. I wish I said this up top. What the negotiation is really about is that they're trying to destroy television writing as a career and film writing as a career. They're trying to turn it into gig work, into something where there's a couple showrunners who maybe they pay a lot of money to, but there's no writers in the middle. And those showrunners just say they get the ability to farm out a script to a freelancer every once in a while. So maybe you can make $5,000 once a year by writing one script that takes you a month, and you're like, oh, my dream came true, and yet I'm still working at the Stop and Shop, right? That's what they want it to be. And they want to keep the money for themselves. And it's incredibly self-defeating, because first of all, what kind of economy is that, where a couple people have billions and then everyone else is just like punching up AI or manning the self-checkout machine at the grocery store, which I think is a perfect metaphor for what they're trying to do. They're trying to turn our work into instead of, we used to have 6 writers, now you got one, you got 6 self-checkout machines with one poor mook having to deal with making the technology work. But it's also going to fuck up the industry, because what made Hollywood a great industry was that this made American media the most valuable media product in the world, right? People around the world buy what we make. The reason they do is because this is the one place in America where writers could get paid. Writers since F. Scott Fitzgerald and Faulkner came here to like write movie scripts because they could make a lot of money and drink themselves to death in a wonderful, patterned wallpaper house like this.
While getting their dick sucked by a registered nurse, right?
Exactly right.
Sumner style.
And so if writers aren't paid that way anymore, then writers aren't going to come here anymore, and the industry is going to wither and die. So we're saving it from ourselves,
and even beyond that, it's so short-sighted because I'm a better writer than I was when I started writing for TV now.
Yeah.
And that's because I have been able to forge a life of experience and of craft, and I'm sure you are too, and I know you are too. It's like, it doesn't make any sense what they want, but I don't think sense is the thing. When you're looking at algorithms and numbers and profit margins, you're not thinking about that folksy fucking like, Godfathery, like wink and a nudge, Dantana kind of business. It's more, you're just looking at a computer screen. So anyway, thank God I think this is a good way to wrap this up. Thank God that we have a union that can speak louder than the individual voice of any one writer who can
thank
fight
you for
us.
spearheading it. I mean, it's really great because are you from the Midwest?
I'm from Long Island, New York. Actually.
Oh, you are? Okay. Because you had kind of a Midwest accent. I wasn't sure. Maybe you make that more prevalent for...
when you talk about workers' rights and the labor union.
When I was working down at the auto plant.
It sounds better than, I was working at the... No, they both sound right. They both sound right.
But I don't
know Long Island. I don't know. I'm not an accent
Moshe
guy.
doesn't
By the
get
way,
accents.
I got embarrassed by your Obama too. It was so much better than mine. Let's move on.
Well, I'm just saying it's great that you exist.
Thank you.
And that you are able to find the just the optimism to do this.
Yeah.
Because that's hard, because I'm so cynical I can't even have the discussion.
That's interesting. A union rep has to be both incredibly cynical and incredibly optimistic at the same time.
You'd definitely have the optimism.
It's the fucking coolest thing I've ever done. Like, I was at the picket line today. I was there from 10 a.m.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Well, how long were you there, man? I was there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I was there all day long.
Yeah, I was there exactly as long
Which
as you.
studio?
No, I'm lying. I was there for four. I think I was there for 4 hours.
Which studio has the most shade?
Oh my God.
That's where I'll go tomorrow.
No, I can tell you the dynamic, and you can't speak to this because they're all equal. But Disney is where you go when you're a little older and you need some shade and you just need to not walk too much. Paramount is when you're kind of like you're our age, you're kind of like a Gen Xer and you like old Hollywood. Yeah. And Netflix is where you go to get laid and get coke.
100%. Netflix is like so horny, and like because it's all the East Side renters. It's like all the writers. It's all the Gen Z writers.
Sounds like some hot guys might be there.
Yeah, you should go down.
It's incredible there. And by the way, at some of these other studios, the picket lines are there to like stop trucks from going in. That's the purpose. We're trying to because Teamsters don't cross picket lines. The Teamsters is the one who delivers the trucks. That's another union that's supporting us. And so that's the purpose when we're at Universal or Paramount. And Netflix, we're just picketing the Netflix office building because we can see the Netflix people up in the building and like horns are honking. They're like looking down at us. Like we are just letting them know, hey, you're fucking talent. Instead of pitching inside that building, we're outside letting you know that we're pissed. And it's so much fun. It makes me so optimistic to be out there because like we're up against the machinery of capitalism, right? I was making fun of Ted Sarandos and David Zaslav. It's not about these individual guys. If they were, to drop dead today, a new CEO would come in and do the same thing. It's about the machinery of capitalism. It's what Wall Street is demanding. It's what the stockholders are demanding. They're demanding them to press our labor down and fuck us up. And we are fighting back with nothing but our humanity. Literally, we're just 12,000 people who talk to each other. That's all I do as a union rep is I talk to folks like you, literally any union member who wants to talk to me on the phone. If they get my number, they text me. I'll call them on the phone. We have millions of one-to-one conversations like that. We have big meetings, where hundreds of writers get together. We talk about the issues. And then we generate unity of purpose by organizing each other, by having, we have captains who text you and say, hey, would you come out to the picket line today? We need more people. Hey, what are your issues? What are you concerned about? Let's talk. We generate that unity of purpose. And then we collectively decide democratically, we're not willing to work anymore unless we get this, this, and this. This is what we need. And then we go fucking do it. And we just say, we're starving you out. And we don't have high tech. we're just emailing each other. We're just calling each other on the phone and like making signs with cardboard. And here's the thing, it's gonna fucking work. We're gonna kick their asses. I'm 100% sure of this. We're gonna kick their asses, and then they'll fuck us again 3 more years. But
at least you'll get, when AI's in 3 years, AI is gonna be like,
P.S. If you can get me 3 years based on the way AI is going, I feel like it'll be good. I'll step off the bow of the ship into climate disaster.
Look, this is the way the Writers Guild and unions across America have won everything that workers have. This is why we have health care. This is why we have pension. It's why we have residuals at all, is because writers in the past took this step and everyone said, oh, they're fucking idiots. They'll never make it. It'll never work. And they won those basic contract protections. And they beat those evil old studio bosses. But they did it often under worse conditions than we're under right now. And now it's our turn to step up and do it. And we're going to kick their asses because they need us. They fundamentally need us. You should be pumped.
Yeah, we're going to the picket line tomorrow, Natasha and I.
I'm bringing a parasol.
Well, I'm actually going to Netflix because I got I just had some eye candy I want to look at. But Natasha's going to head on over to Disney.
I'll go to Disney where the people have
you
walkers.
Go to Disney. You go to Disney. Go ahead. Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us. We're not done by any. We're just.
We do have a few callers.
We got some calls. I mean, we have a format. And we got so caught up in talking about this great stuff that
wait, hold on.
I forgot all about.
Should we do 1 call or 2 calls?
Okay, let's do it. Our first call, basically, the format is people just call us. They ask for advice. You can make fun of them. You can give them real advice. You can do whatever you want.
We're going to call James from Chicago.
James from Chicago. Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe.
Does your ass crack smell funky? Because if it does, you might want to check out Lumi. It's deodorant for everywhere.
As an OBGYN, Lumi's founder, Dr. Shannon Klingman, met thousands of women concerned with odor below the belt. And through clinical testing, she discovered it wasn't the vagina to blame, but bacteria on the skin.
That's what I've been saying this whole time. It's not the vagina to blame. If your butthole smells bad or your balls smell disgusting, why do you only put deodorant in your armpits? Put it in your dick pits. Put it in your butt pits. Put it in your pussy pits. Listen, Lumi is here for your pits, privates, and beyond. And you know how long this stuff lasts? Freaking 72 hours.
So this doctor created Lumi. It's a pH-optimized, aluminum-free deodorant that actually works and works everywhere with over 150,000 5-star reviews to prove it.
Listen, stop stanking and start Lumiing. We've got a crazy offer for you, which is that you'll get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with the code honeymoon at lumideodorant.com. That's 40%, more than 40% off the starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and you use that code honeymoon.
As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code honeymoon at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use code honeymoon. That's LUME deodorant.com.
Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe?
I've been watching a lot of matchmaker shows lately, and I realize that we are hooking people up with such a cool deal with Talkify because we're bringing a matchmaker right into their computer.
Listen, why do you keep trying the same methods over and over if you know you're just setting yourself up to fail? It's time to say goodbye to swiping, this is what I'm telling everybody, and bring back the human touch to dating with Talkify.
Talkify is the country's #1 modern matchmaking service that is designed to help you achieve relationship success.
Their trusted compatibility specialists hand-select successful and compelling candidates so you can date consciously and productively.
Basically, the matchmakers at Talkify meet with you, they learn what you're about and what you're looking for in a partner, and then they select and screen potential match candidates for you, doing background checks, video interviews, and asking those tough questions that are maybe too awkward for a first date.
And Talkify is committed to finding your match. 80% of clients met their person within the first 12 matches. That's amazing.
Yeah, basically the matchmaker will plan your date introductions and handle all the communications for you. If you're stressed out, and we get so many calls from people that are stressed out about how to meet somebody, why not try Talkify? It's something new and it might just work for you. In fact, as Natasha said, it's worked for 80% of their clients.
And right now, Talkify is offering our listeners 20% off when you become a client at Talkify.com/honeymoon.
That's TAWKIFY.com/honeymoon for 20% off when you become a client.
Good to see you.
You're handsome. You have a great sweater. You have good glasses. You actually fit right in with the tableau we have going on over here.
It's Moshe, Natasha, and our friend Adam Conover.
Hello.
Adam, good to see you. I actually I started watching Adam Ruins Everything a couple years ago after seeing you get shot in the face out of Eric Andre's ass.
That got me, Eric Andre brutally beating the shit out of me on Adult Swim brought a lot of new fans my way, surprisingly.
Beautiful.
Hey, you got an extra one here.
How can we help, James?
Well, I'm in a serious relationship, and I love my girlfriend very much. And she's super hot. She's a dime.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Swinging way out of my league.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's what counts. That's what counts, my friend.
Exactly. Except for one element.
Uh-oh.
She is constantly farting.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I understand. I'm not a monster. We all do it. It's natural. Maybe it's a good thing. It means she's comfortable with me. But it just totally kills the mood. It's like a foghorn.
Is it? So she's like a punk rock farter. She's like an out loud, hey, check this out.
Or maybe a hippie.
I mean, there's almost an element of performance to it.
A performance
like
farter.
Just to get a reaction.
And you said foghorn. Oh, so it's really audible. That's my question.
He meant foghorn, leghorn. Yeah. Chicken hawk. I say. I got a fall right now.
It's been a while since I thought about
something
foghorn,
like
leghorn.
that. But it's and she kind of revels in doing it when we're like cuddling or when things maybe start getting hot and heavy.
When you're in a romantic situation?
Yeah, at least what I perceive to be. Maybe that's a misread on my situation.
And is she doing it in that moment? Is it as a joke? Is she trying to get a laugh? Like, are you, if you're making out, you're getting hot and heavy, and then she lets a toot fly because she's trying to break the tension and she wants to, get a chuckle out of you. Do you feel that that's the motivation every time, or is there something else going on sometimes?
No, I genuinely think she's just like, fuck it, I'm letting this one rip. I don't really care.
There is a possibility that you said you were punching way out of your league, which is hard for me to imagine because you're like straight up look like a model for kind of like a futuristic earthy tones kind of hemp clothing line kind of a thing. But so that means is it possible if you're punching way out of your league that she's doing it like when you guys get romantic, she does it to put a stop to the romance because you're so much profoundly uglier than she is, as you admitted yourself, and she's like, I'm not trying to go there with you?
That could be it. I was thinking, like, if I could spin zone it, maybe
I'm on the case.
Maybe it's a cue for me that she's not ready to go.
I don't think so.
Which then takes the pressure off me. But I don't know. I feel like I do all right.
You're a handsome man. I mean, the answer here is very obvious to me. I don't know, Adam. Are you having a feeling?
I have a couple thoughts to share, but I want to know what Natasha says.
Well, I will tell you, like, I grew up not farting, and that was not a thing you did in public, and I would never. It's like appalling.
She was big like Veruca Salt because she held in so many farts as she was growing up.
No, listen, it was just like never a thing that you would ever do. And then I remember when I met Moshe, we were hanging out with some of his friends from the Bay Area, and this girl would like fart and be like, "Oh, excuse me." And like, I had never heard anyone fart and say, excuse me. Like, if I farted, I would just like be, just be like, oh, what's up here? Like, and then Moshe was like, oh, that's a real Bay Area thing. Like, it's like kind of hippie. They just kind of own it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad I'm not that. But it's clearly like from her, her childhood, maybe like
she thinks
it's okay.
On some
it
level.
was not,
yeah.
And it's good in a way that it wasn't like, I would just be like, it wasn't even something you would think about doing.
Like, my girlfriend and I have been together 14 years now, and it's like, first of all, I grew up in a very fart-free family.
Fart. It was free of farts or free to fart?
We farted a lot.
Okay, fart. Okay.
You were free farting.
Yeah, free farting family.
I, for most of my life, thought that the only thing that was rude was if other people could hear you fart. That I thought, as an adult, you're supposed to be able to do a silent, move the butt cheek and get the fart out. and people would be like, dude, why'd you fart? It's smelly. And I'm like, well, you can't
not fart.
You can't not fart. And they'd be like, hold it in.
The Conover family crest says you can't not fart.
I learned at like 25 that other people just like clench.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that.
Natasha and I have been clenching our entire relationship. Not a joke.
And then you get like a stomach ache. And then like.
We've had a stomach ache our whole relationship.
So this to me is horrible because I do think part of the point of being in a close relationship is to get to be your unvarnished self around a person and to not have to hold it in after 14 years together. On the other hand, there is a level of propriety where, I try to not fart in situations that are going to bother my girlfriend. So my last thought is, if it's happening specifically around sex, James, is because the thing that me and my girlfriend will do is we'll try to make each other laugh while making out, but sometimes it's coming from a place of anxiety because we're making out and we're like, oh, but actually am I really in the mood right now? How do I feel? I'm not entirely sure. And there's just a little bit of anxiety. And so we'll make a joke to cut the tension. And we started to realize that was getting in the way of us actually having sex, because we were bailing out, rather than committing. And so I wonder if there's maybe an element of that just with the sex part. Is there maybe some other sexual tension that you could work through?
Yeah, she's not stupid. She knows that's like a weird time to be like ripping ass.
Right?
Is that how you call it?
Yeah, I like
she's
it.
got a great ass, so it's like
no, we
I'm
can
in a little bit of a pickle here.
Brother, we can smell it from here. We know.
So the question is, can Alex, is that your name?
James.
Can James tell her stop farting?
That's what I was going to pick. Okay, I have an addendum. I have a yes and to Adam and an addendum to what you're saying. I think that Adam's right. I think the idea, this woman is clearly a Conover style free farter. That's her vibe. That's who she is. You don't want a different woman. You want this woman. This woman, one of the things about her, one of the picadillos about her is that she thinks it's funny to fart and to do it freely and often. And she picked you because you're James and you're super handsome and United Colors of Benetton style. Yeah. And you are a person. One of your picadillos is
you're normal.
That you don't particularly. It's not really your thing. So you guys got to find a middle ground. But the problem is that neither of you are, especially you, James. No one's saying it. No one's saying like, "Look, I love you. I love the way you are." The farting thing for me, when we're being intimate, especially, is just takes me out of the moment. Like, I love you, and I don't want you to change yourself. I know that I'm with a free farter, but when there are certain situations in which I'd like for that, for me, it's not about you. It's just somebody has to say it out loud. I think that's the very clear answer. You're at the intimacy level. She's at the intimacy level where she can fart in front of you. You need to get to the intimacy level where you can express how you feel about said farts. Do you think?
I would agree with that. I think it's all about communication. Is there ever a moment, sometimes, James, when she farts and you do find it funny?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, there's some really loud ones that are they're objectively funny.
What the fuck is her problem?
Adam found an in. Yes, I like.
So this is how because sometimes I fart around. I'll fart around Lisa and she'll laugh. Right. And then another time I'll fart around her and she'll be like, "Oh, why'd you do that?" I'll be like, "I'm getting mixed messages, honey." Sometimes you laugh. And so now I try to set it up. So what I do is I go like at night, I'll go like, "Hey, you want to hear a really good fart?" And if she says yes, then
can you imagine if I said that to you, Natasha?
And then
we don't do that.
And then her bit is she'll describe what the fart sounds like. So she'll say, "Oh, that sounds like a duck opened a door." But then sometimes she says, "Not right now," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then I go to our backup bathroom and I fart in there.
I mean, we've said it often on the podcast. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and it sounds like you literally need disinfectant in your house. Like, I think it is time to just say it out loud. The thing, it's very uncomfortable, but she's clearly comfortable enough in front of you to fart. That means she's got to be comfortable enough with you to have a conversation about it.
Also, I will say she's kind of like getting off on the fact that she knows that you think that she's too hot for you. So I think that's maybe why I'm not saying it's true. It's just your energy around her is that you feel very lucky to be with her, and she might be picking up on that a little bit. So I think for your own growth, maybe you are okay with letting her know that, even though you feel she's out of your league. It's okay to say that to her, and I don't think it would push her away. And if it did push her away, it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Because it's annoying to you. And you got her, so you'll get another hot chick.
Yeah. James, we feel we've helped you amazingly.
Absolutely. I appreciate
Can you have that conversation, you think?
I think so. And Natasha is the only female on the panel today, on the fart panel. It's all about not making her feel, as a woman, unsexy when she farts. She can be sexy.
You're very attracted to her. You can just say, like, I like that you're you, but maybe when we're like intimate or, I don't know, laying down with each other, there's got to be some kind of like guideline. Like, you know,
or spooning with her.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, this is too much for me. But I think, I think the language of it takes me out of the moment. Not, I think it's gross when you.
Yeah.
It's like I get out of the moment. It literally blows me out of the bed, and I'm slammed into the wall. But just it takes me out of the moment sometimes. And when we're being intimate, or there's certain situation when we're together, the farting, even though I love it and I think it's so great, I love the foghorn. I sometimes want a silent love making. James?
All right, good luck, honey.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Fair enough. Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe?
I'm a client of ZocDoc. What about ya?
I am. I actually love it. It's so superior. I'm a bit of a Luddite, but this makes me happy for tech.
This is worth the impending doom from AI. Because what it does is it takes out all the headache of trying to find a doctor's appointment. You put in what's going on with your body, you put in where you live, and it will give you qualified candidates for doctoring that are as close to you as you want and are available sometimes the same day.
You know what happens? You're trying to find a cause for your symptoms, and then you stumble down a TikTok rabbit hole full of questionable advice from so-called experts. Just go see a doctor. You can see them on your phone. I know no one wants to leave their phone for 5 seconds. You can talk to your phone and get advice. Just don't go on TikTok.
You can just filter the doctors. Distance, available today. Hotness, they'll let you select the hottest doctor in town. That part's not true. Go to ZocDoc because it's the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun.
And when you find the right doctor, you can feel it. You feel heard and at ease.
Go to ZocDoc.com/honeymoon and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
That's ZocDoc.com/honeymoon. ZocDoc.com/honeymoon.
We have a secrets hotline where people call and leave their deep, dark secrets. So let's play a few of those.
Great.
And then we'll see where we're at.
Great.
Hey, you guys. So I am a 28-year-old woman, and I hate peeing in pools. Like, I hate that as a concept. I think it is so disgusting, and it seems like no one else shares this viewpoint. So if I'm at my apartment pool, a hotel pool, pool party, let it be known I'm watching you, and I'm watching everyone to see if they go back into the public restroom, back to their apartment, whatever, all day, because usually they're eating, drinking, whatever. There's no possible way that you don't have to get up and pee if we're at the pool for 6 hours. You know what I mean? So I'm watching you, I'm clocking you, and if you don't get up to pee, I know that you peed in the pool, and I'll never look at you the same.
Oh my God. This, what a miserable person.
Her.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
This is not common to pee in a pool.
She's I'm sorry. Let me
Adam obviously pees in pools based on his reaction to that secret.
No. I don't.
Adam, you cannot come over to our pool.
I did when I was younger. Of course, I don't anymore. I did when I was a little kid. But my belief is, if you're getting into a pool, you need to just accept there's pee in that pool.
Accept what's happening in there.
You cannot stop it. Like I also agree people should not pee in the pool. If there are people other than you in the pool, there's pee in there. And you cannot live your life trying to be the person trying to stop people from peeing in the pool. You're sitting at the pool and you're watching other people. They've been in there. They haven't been peeing. Like what a way to ruin that experience for yourself.
It is a funny day at a pool to just be like, what'd you do at the pool today? Was it fun? Well, primarily I was clocking whether or not people were urinating in the public restroom.
And I was stressing out about it and I was angry. I mean, look, people. The pool is full of people's bodily fluids. People are getting in the pool. People are covered in shit all the time. Yeah, they also didn't wipe their asses before they got in the pool. I'm sorry. Like, they're everybody is leaking from every orifice. That's what a pool fucking is. So
not
deal
if you
with
have
it.
your own.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's what we're fighting for. That's what the guild is fighting for right now on the line for every writer to get their own swimming pool. All right, let's play another secret.
Hey, yo, I seen this number on the back of a car. I got a juicy ass secret.
Hell yeah.
So I want to say I've been with my baby's mother for what? We're high school sweethearts, so we've been together since freshman year. And we're still together at the time. And we're 20 years old now. My secret is I've cheated on her at least with 15 to 16 different women throughout that time. She has no idea. All she knows is that I've cheated on her once.
Well, now that's
my secret.
That was juicy, my
Are you
man.
sure not 16 to 17 or
At least
14 to 15?
The phrasing at least 15 to 16, like the at least being vague and the 15 to 16 being like kind of exact, but also not really exact.
15.5? What is he talking?
Oh man, that is I feel bad laughing because this guy is a sociopath and is torturing this poor woman. But
I know my kid's always asking me how old she can be when she has kids. And I'm like, well, she's like, how old were you? I was like, well, I was 45. She's like, how old can you be? I'm like, well, you could be a teenager, but you don't really want to have kids when you're a teenager. And I stand by that.
You should just play her this secret when she gets when she hits puberty and be like, this is what this is the kind of men that are out there.
Yeah. Oh my God. 14. I got 15 or 16 times, and I've had 20 to 21 additional kids.
Was there any doubt in anyone's mind when he was gearing up to say baby's mother that he was about to say the phrase baby's mother? Like, I saw that coming so far down the pipe. I wonder, this guy, what do I say about this guy? That's juicy, but not nice.
I don't think he listens to the podcast.
No.
So
yeah.
we can call him scum.
Yeah. All right. Well, scum, tell your girl. Break up with your girl. How about that? Break up with your girl.
Yeah, let her know. Don't lie
Break
to
up with your
her.
girl. What are you? You're clearly too horny to be with one woman. Go be with other women and then be honest. It's so easy. And then go fart and pee in a pool.
Yeah, why not?
All right. One more.
Hi, Tosh. Hi, Moshe. I'm calling to do a little bit of a professional work secret. I used to be the assistant for this really bad man in Hollywood, and he was horrible to everyone around him, especially his employees. And he set up a system in his phone that if he doesn't answer a call, it would go to my phone. I don't work for him anymore. I quit, but his calls still go to my phone. And I just let them, and I haven't told anyone on his staff, and he's missing very important calls from very important people. And this is just a little bit of my getting back at him for being such a jerk to me. But then his kid's school called, and now I feel kind of bad. Yeah, that's my secret. Bye.
I mean, this is such a great moral question because, you want to say it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Depends on who it is. I need a
but
name.
let's say he's the worst person. Let's say he's a rapist.
Harvey Weinstein.
Let's say he's the absolute worst person. Is it okay to do that? What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do if Harvey Weinstein's phones were being diverted to his cell?
I'm just saying, could you live with yourself if karma is a thing and you're creating your karma in these like little moments? Are you doing more harm to yourself?
I like this one. What do you think, Adam?
I mean, look, you don't owe anybody redirecting their mail. You know what I mean?
Never excuse error in
against someone's favor.
Look, I'm the kind of person, if I see, look, I get a lot of misdirected email because I have an old email address that was just my first initial instead of my name, and so I get a lot of email for other people, and sometimes I reply and I say you emailed the wrong person, but sometimes I'm like, I mean, fuck this person that they set my email address as their Bank of America email address. And now I have access to their bank statements. I'm not going to go out of my way to find them. Like, I don't have time to do that. And so she could take that approach with the guy and say, I fuck this guy and his whole company.
Yep.
They'll figure it out. They don't need me to go out of my way to say, you know.
Well, it's like revenge is often difficult to choreograph, and this person choreographed it for her. Like the evil man brought the revenge to her door. I don't think I would have it redirected.
I probably would.
You're a good person.
I just don't want I just need all the help I can get.
All right. Well, what should we do? How about you want to?
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Oh, it's been long enough. Okay, cool. Well, then I'll say this last thing. So you were saying about redirecting mail. What would you do in this situation? We got mail recently. Okay. Don't know the addressee. I called the former owner of the house, and he didn't know this addressee. It was 3 letters, 2 from the DOJ, 1 from the FBI.
Whoa!
And I was like, if I was this person, I would desperately want to know that the DOJ and the FBI was after me. So I did a lot of work to try to find this person, and I actually contacted the Department of Justice because I have a contact there. And no information. We threw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
You threw that in the garbage?
Or return to sender, I guess.
That's
is what
I was
going
to do.
Yeah, return to sender.
I mean, that's that's the bureaucracy. They'll find the person. That's their job. It's not necessarily yours.
I think it would feel really good to send a quick, curt email. Please have this off of my phone ASAP.
Mm-hmm.
You'd still feel good. But like, you can talk to them now like they're pieces of shit.
Yeah, and you can be like, I was the good person, and so fuck that. You know, like I do find that the right decision is always the one that lets you sleep at night and know that you did.
And you'll still feel good.
Yeah.
I think.
The right decision is the one that allows you to fart in front of your partner at night.
I agree.
Man, Natasha and I could not have related to you less during that part, but we related to you so much during.
You would be so happy if you let it fly, and I'm constantly.
I wouldn't. I'd be single. I'd be single. I'd be miserable. I'd be at your house. Like, hey, can I come hang out? You don't want that. You don't want that from me. Adam, you're the best, and we really appreciate you coming by. When is this coming out? Okay, so your dates. Well, do you have something you'd like to talk about? Dates and things?
I can plug some dates here. Let me pull them up real quick.
Adam's a great stand-up. In addition to being an untiring advocate for labor and a wonderful producer of television, also a great stand-up. Go see him live.
Yeah, come see me in Tempe, Arizona, Batavia, Illinois, just outside Chicago, Baltimore, Maryland, and St. Louis, Missouri. And if you that's all in May and June. And if you want to support the strike, we have a fund that you can support. By the way, if you go to entertainmentcommunityfund.org, you click donate, and you select film and TV from their drop-down menu. That money will go to support crew members, actors, other people affected by the strike. And if you want to support me while I'm on strike, come see me in Batavia, Illinois.
Ooh, hell yeah. Adam Conover, thank you for joining us. You're the best. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
This is a blast.